Hello, kindergartners. So we have a special event coming up on Sunday. Sunday is Mother's Day. And so you need a gift to give to your mom. So go get your brown paper bag because we have a surprise activity to complete. If you don't have it yet, press pause, come on back. If you've got it, we're going to open it up. What's inside the brown bag? Make sure your mom can't see what we're doing. This needs to be a surprise. So to take everything out, we've got some bag of soil in there. We've got a pot. We've got a plastic spoon. And then we've got some seeds. Your bag of seeds will look a little different than mine because I wanted you to be able to see what we're going to plant. We're going to plant some flowers for Mom. The flowers we're planting are called zinnias. They're very colorful, and I know your mom will love this. Moms love when you make things for them. Well, we need to get working on planting our zinnia seeds. And we need to do the just right thing because seeds need special things to germinate. Germinate's a fancy word for what happens when the seed starts to grow. So to germinate, they're going to need to be kept warm. They're going to need some water, and they also need oxygen. So we're going to really work hard to follow all the directions so your seeds can germinate and turn into beautiful flowers. So take your pot. If you have your plate left over from your bird feeder, you can use that. If you don't have that plate, you can get a different plate. It might help with the mess. We don't want to make mom have to clean up a mess when we're done, or dad have to clean up a mess, or older brothers or sisters. So we're going to make sure we put our pot on top of a plate. You're going to open up your bag of soil. And then we're going to use our spoon to scoop the soil and put it in the pot. Now I want you to look closely at the pot. Do you notice that there is a line that goes all the way around? That's where we want our soil to go up to. We don't want the soil too high that it comes over the top, and we don't want the soil too low. We want it to be just right. So you're going to take your soil and your spoon, and you're going to fill it all the way up until it gets to that line. Try to be very careful, making sure it all goes in. And now I said we want it to germinate. So if we do the right thing, hopefully our seed will start to grow or germinate and turn into a seedling. So I said it needs water. So that will be important. But when seeds are still seeds, we don't want to water them too much, because if there's too much water, they might drown like a human would. And that wouldn't be safe. So we don't want too much water. They also need oxygen. They need to breathe just like humans do. So we don't want to bury the seeds too low in the soil. And they also need to be at the right temperature. Zinnias need to be at about 75 degrees, which is probably the temperature, close to the temperature in your house. So we don't want to put them in a place that's too cold, and we don't want to put them in a place that's too hot. They need the just right temperature. And if we follow all these steps, we should be able to get our seeds feeling really nice that they'll want to germinate. So I've got my soil close to that line all the way around. If you're not ready yet, that's okay. Take your time. You can press pause and keep filling up your soil until you get to that line. Now, once we get to that line, we've got the next step. We've got to plant those seeds. Well, if you looked in your bag, you notice that the seeds might all look different in your bag. So we want to make sure that you pick your best seeds. They're really, really, really small. And you should have a few seeds in there. We're only going to plant 2. So I want you to look closely at your seeds, and you're going to figure out which 2 seeds you're going to plant. So I'm going to pick up my 2 favorite seeds. And now how will we plant them? Well, remember, we don't want the seeds to go too low where they can't breathe, because they take in oxygen and then they're going to breathe out something called carbon dioxide. And we want to make sure that they can get the oxygen and they can get rid of the carbon dioxide. So, easy way to figure out how far down. We're going to use our pointer finger. So make sure you're pointing that finger. And we're going to plant 2 seeds. That means we need 2 holes. So watch how I make my hole. I'm going to take my finger and I'm just going to poke a hole. I didn't go too far down, just a little bit. And I'm going to go on the other side and poke a hole. So I have 2 holes ready. And now the easy part, I just take my seeds in my pincher fingers. Helper hand will hold the pot. And I'm going to put my seed right in the hole. And then I'm going to take my other seed with my pincher fingers and put it in the other hole. Now we got to be very careful. We want to cover it up, but remember, we don't want to cover it too much. So I'm just going to use my finger and I'm going to spread some soil on top. Now, if you notice, when I said what seeds need to germinate, I didn't say soil. The soil is important for when they start to grow, but the soil will help keep it warm. So we want to make sure that we've got our soil right on top. And now we're almost ready. We got one more step. We need some water. Now, this is the hard part. If we were at school, we'd be using some squirt bottles because you can't squirt too much with the squirt bottles. So if you have a squirt bottle, that'd be awesome. Go get a squirt bottle, fill it up with some water, and you can use that to squirt your soil. I chose to get a measuring cup. That way it would make it easy for me to pour. If you get a regular cup, that's okay, but you've got to be very careful. We don't want to pour too much water in our soil because we don't want our seeds to drown. So watch how I do this. I'm just going to pour my water until I can notice that the soil is wet. So don't pour yet. I want you to watch me to see how much water I pour. And when you're pouring it, you're going to notice something cool. Your soil will start to look different. It starts moving. The soil is dry. It's absorbing all of the water. That means it's taking in all of that water. So I don't want to do too much. If you've got puddles on top, that's not good. That means there's too much water. So my soil changed color. Now it's a darker brown. That way I know I've got enough water in there. Once you water your soil, you know there's enough water for your seeds. And I'm going to add another step. This isn't something that you need to do, but you can ask somebody in your house if you have any clear plastic wrap. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tear off a piece of the plastic wrap. And what this will help do is it will help trap some of that moisture, some of that water, and it'll keep my soil wet without me having to pour more water on it. So I've got my plastic. I'm going to put it on top. If you don't have any plastic wrap, no big deal. You don't have to cover it up. Now, what do we do with our pots? Well, remember I said we want it to be the just right temperature. If I put it next to the window, sometimes it gets cold next to the window and sometimes it gets hot with that sun shining on it. So the window isn't the best spot. If it's the only place you can put it, that's fine. But if you have a different spot, maybe in your room where mom can't see it, that's a great idea. Now your job will be to check your pot every day and you're going to look at that soil. You shouldn't need to water it tomorrow, but you're going to watch the soil. When it changes color again and it becomes a light brown, it might need some more water. If you've got the plastic wrap on, all you do is you pick it up, you look in, and check on your soil. Now the seeds should start to germinate in 5 to 10 days. So that means today is Thursday. Let's count how many days would be 5. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So next Tuesday is 5 days. So next Tuesday, we're going to start checking to see if your seed is germinated and it's starting to turn into a seedling. So the first thing, the roots will grow down into the soil. We won't be able to see that. The next thing is it will start to sprout up out of the soil. So on Tuesday, in 5 days, we'll start to check. And once that happens, if you've got plastic wrap, you want to take that off because now they start to need that sunlight also. So we'll put them next to a window so they can get sunlight all day long. They still need to be the right temperature. They'll still need the water, and they still need that oxygen, that air. But we want to make sure that they're getting enough sunlight also. If your seed doesn't start to grow by Tuesday, that's okay. We have 5 more days, 5 to 10 days. So you'll keep checking it. Now, if they never grow, no big deal. You should have some extra seeds, save them. If it doesn't grow in 5 to 10 days, you can just replant it again. If you don't have any soil left over in your bag, no big deal. You can find some dirt outside, and dirt would work well too. My last thing is very important, and this you might need help. If both of your seeds start to grow, that's exciting, but they don't work well next to each other, and their roots might start to fight. So what you'll need to do is you'll need to pick which seedling you want to continue to grow, and you'll just pick the other one. You just take it and pull it out. So hopefully your moms love this beautiful gift. Remember, Mother's Day is on Sunday, so keep this a surprise until Sunday. If you have any questions, make sure you let Mrs. Oliveri, Mr. Sawyer, Mrs. Smith, or Mrs. Osborne know. Hope you enjoy this activity. Have a great day. Bye.